let me tell you, when Okankwe Central was carved out in October, just around September 2012, most of the people in Okankwe North wanted me to contest there because they felt it was the easier of the two.
So this is Achimota, Akweteman.
Achimota, Akweteman, Boamah, Kiseman, Achimota school area, Abofu.
So they felt that was much safer for MPP than Tesano, Fadama,
Yes,
Abeka.
because we had won 2008 by, I think, 1,700, 1,800 margin. So they felt me being a new candidate, I should have opted for the North. But I said I lived in Tesano. There was no way I was going to. So I had to put in a different strategy from October to December. And I was able to win with a 7,200 difference and 10,000. And
so you made it safe, seemingly safe.
But I tell you what, 2024 was a different election across the country. We had won the 2016 election with a margin of about 1 million votes and about 169 constituencies. Fast forward 2020, we won the election with over 500,000 votes and 137 seats, plus an independent seat. So I believe God was talking to the MPP at the time, and we should have listened to the good people of this country and put in place the right measures and policies to make the people happy. Ashanti region was grumbling, Eastern region was grumbling, Greater Accra. There were issues that we should have listened to. Party folks were calling for a major reshuffle. People have stayed in office for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. DC is same, some chief executives and what have you. But you realize that it did not happen. And the elections told us that if we had listened, we would have done far better than we did. 2024 election also taught us a few things. That Ghanaians don't make mistakes. At every material time, they know who they want to vote for. I'm an NPP, I would have loved Dr. Boamah to win, but the circumstances around the country, the factors, everything was against the MPP, except those of us who were in the party. Some of us knew that we were facing a headwind and it was going to be a very difficult election for us. I put in place the right strategies to win. I knew by 7:30 of election night that I had won the election because I had my system of calculation and collating my results. So by 8 p.m., I told my people to go to the center and continue with the collation with the EC because I knew my results.
But you needed a recount to finally be declared a winner.
There wasn't a recount. Bernard,
Really?
this was what happened. The EC has a way of collating their results from polling station to polling station. And on election night, right after 6:30, they started collating their results. Your reporters were there. The screens were there showing results being transmitted on their portal for everybody to see with the polling station codes. They got to 138 out of the 140 polling stations, plus the declared results from the special voting, which I had won. That was when City, or you were then ChannelOne last year, had projected I had won the election, and you were forced to pull down your results because some people went there and said that NDC had won the presidential, and they don't see any reason why Boamah should win the parliamentary. But those are two different and distinct elections.
Fair enough, but there was a recollation nonetheless. There had to be, because the EC on 21st December then did a recollation and then announced that you had won. Because of the dispute.
They had to complete the collation because they were left with 2 polling stations to add. And if they had even given all those votes to the NDC, I still would have won the elections.
So you prefer to use the word a complete collation?
Because there's nothing in CI 127 that talks about recollation.
Well, the EC themselves described what they were doing at the police head office, police training school, as a recollation. That's what they described it as. So we use that.
Yes.
I'm not here to
no, I agree with you.
But to be fair, this has been your toughest election, even for you, in this constituency.
Because given the situation of the country, if factors were going to affect my party and government, definitely it was going to affect me, regardless of what I'd done. If I hadn't performed well, I tell you, I would have lost the election.
Does the MPP know the reason why it lost so badly?
Bernard, that was the reason why we, as a party, asked Professor Michael Quay and his team to go around the country, to ask around the country the reasons that led to our defeat and our abysmal performance. I'm of the view that aspects of the report that affects constituencies must be known to them to enable them put in place the right measures to recalibrate and prepare themselves for 2028. We as constituencies ought to also do some analysis and compare with what the Okwei report generated. It hasn't happened.
He's not been made public, or do we know if his report even looked at constituencies or just a national picture?
Yeah, they went around constituencies, but it was, for me, it wasn't that thorough.
In terms of constituency level?
Yes, because every constituency has its own issues. There are people within every constituency who have issues that they thought they should have been given the opportunity to engage the Okwei committee over a period. If you are touring 276 constituencies, you have to take your time. I'm of the opinion that we even needed, as a serious party, as an external consultant, to even do a second research, as a second opinion, to compare with what the Okwei report produced. Because this is the first time we've gone through such an election and produced such a result. So a lot more ought to have been done to unearth what happened. Some are blaming former President Akufo-Addo. Some are blaming our flag bearer. Some are blaming Kennedy Japan. Some are blaming some of our parliamentary candidates, running mate, and what have you. So we need a very critical analysis of what took place to be able to determine and map out the right strategies to go forward.
Does the parliamentary group know the content of the report?
We don't.
Seriously?
We don't know it.
So on what basis is the party moving forward to take the decisions it's taken in relation to some of the things we've heard in the past few weeks about dates and stuff? Because, of course, you are a leading member of parliament. You're actually the chairman of the subsidiary legislative committee. You're a 4-time MP. So you're telling me, hat on hand, you haven't seen the report?
Bernard, I'm a very senior member of the party.
Wow.
If you talk about those who have served from the base up to this level, I'm a very senior member of the party. I know the ins and outs of the party, just that some of us don't talk too much.
Yeah.
We as a caucus ought to also conduct an in-depth analysis of our performance as a caucus. We need to engage a group like ISA or Institute of Democratic Development or CDD to also assist us, because it's in our general interest to know. Because you can't offer prescription to somebody when you haven't done the diagnostics well. And that is where we are lacking. For us to jump and determine that, oh, National Council has the right to fix the venue and date to select a flag bearer, I think, with the greatest of respect, just putting the cart before the horse.
I'm a bit surprised to hear that the leadership of Parliament has not seen the content of the report.
Nobody.
So, was the issue of the National Council's meeting and their subsequent decision discussed with the parliamentary leadership?
The party steering committee has the elected executives of the party, and then minority leader attends on behalf of the caucus. He's one person who attends. The steering committee. Their decisions are sent to the National Executive Committee. Then National Executive Committee reports to the National Council. That is the procedure. Then some of the decisions cannot be taken by National Council, ought to be taken by conference. You understand? So that is the hierarchy within the organizational structure of the New Patriotic Party. But I'm saying that if we want to win an election, say in 2028, a lot more has to be done than fixing dates and announcing venues for the election.
We've heard some people say